wasn't before. Okay, welcome back, kings, queens, everything in betweens,
Hey.
troglodytes. Welcome back to another episode of the Peasant Party Podcast. I am your host, Charlotte Warren, and I've got a guest here and a recurring host. So I'll start with the recurring host.
It's me, Annabelle, whatever.
Annabelle's here.
No one cares.
Remind everyone who you are. You're my sister.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah,
did
yeah.
it for you. Okay, but
Our
in the
friend
middle,
is here.
in the middle, we have someone one entire year later here. What is good, Kevin?
Kevin,
Reintroduce
recurring
yourself.
guest now.
Recurring guest.
We can have you more.
Recurring
Yeah,
guest.
you're a recurring guest. Come back more.
Yeah.
What is new with you?
Let's see. So yeah, a little over a year later now. I'm also a little over a year sober, so that's a
Fuck
big.
yes.
So yeah, that's been a big change in my life, and
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
fantastic.
Yeah, so
a little over a year is a long time.
yeah, it has been a long time. It's also changed a little bit about
You look
how I
great.
date. Thank you. I feel great. I feel
Hell
great.
yeah.
But-
Love your chains. You look dipped out. Hell yeah, Kevin. You look great.
Thank you. I appreciate it, y'all.
Yeah. I guess like how much? I mean, as much as you're comfortable like sharing and whatnot, like how has it been? Like I mean, like living in a city that is pretty like drinking driven. A lot of people use the crutch of I need to drink to be able to be a good time and have fun. Like what has that been like, and how has that been as an adjustment?
Yeah, I think one thing that I've just really tried to do is surround myself with people that I find that are genuinely fun, whether they're drinking or not drinking, just people that I actually really get along with. I'm still able to go out and have a good time without drinking. Yeah, I mean, I can't, if I'm in a situation where I'm not having fun, then I'll just leave. And I've gotten to a point where I'm okay just leaving and going home. I used to get really bad FOMO, and not that I don't get FOMO anymore. But yeah, I guess just not being afraid to leave if I'm not having fun.
Nice.
Hell yeah. I feel like I have so many questions, but I guess for one, was this like a hard stop you decided one day and you never looked back? Was it like you were toying with it and doing, a week here and like what was the process?
I mean, I definitely toyed with it for a little bit. I'd maybe kind of explored it, but eventually it got to a point where I was like, I tried doing it in moderation. Moderation just wasn't, I'm not someone who can do moderation.
Okay, so that was my next question was like, and you can tell me if it's like too personal to ask, but was it something where it was like you felt like I kind of have a problem with this, or was it just you were okay?
Yeah,
okay.
I definitely,
Yeah.
definitely just like super, just nights would turn into mornings, and
Oh man, yeah.
yeah, and I
awesome.
mean, since then, I'm way more dependable of
Nice.
a person. I just like the way that I show up, not only for my friends but at work. So it's just been a really positive change in my life.
Nice. And it sounds silly, but sometimes people say, you take one vice and you replace it with something else. What has been your, I guess, replacement? Like, has it been, what has it been? Soft drinks? Has it been, some sort of like activity?
The gym.
Like, what's your go-to?
So, I mean, when I first stopped, it was definitely, I just had really bad sugar cravings.
I've heard that. I've heard that happens.
I put on like, not that I'm like super skinny now, but I put on like 35 pounds
What?
probably in the
No
next like
way.
and then like, since then I've lost it, but it was definitely a sweet treat. An abundance of sweet treats was, was my vice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it helped you get through it, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, like, because I've heard about that happening. Like, I've heard people say, like, I just ordered a whole pizza or something like that.
Yep.
Or like you replace it with like sodas or something else that's fun. And I think that's actually like, kind of a good idea because sometimes it's like, oh, I just have to drink a water. Like if you can find a Sprite or something that's like carbonated, I don't know, it tricks you into thinking you got something in your hand.
Yeah.
Whatnot. That's why I love what Liquid Death's doing. There's a lot of
I love liquid death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it hard at all, like just going out after you went sober? Did it take a minute before you could go to like a bar and hang out with friends without drinking?
Yeah, so there's probably like a 2-month buffer period where I didn't go out. I didn't really put myself in any situation at all where I was going out. But then I had a work trip to Vegas, so like that was
What are you gonna do? Yeah.
yeah, like I was in it,
Immersed.
but at that point I felt very confident in my sobriety. And so also one thing I kind of mentioned with the sweet treats, like step one was getting sober. And then, since then I've tried to start to live just like a healthier lifestyle in general.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at now.
So like what?
Nice.
I'm a big Soul Cycle guy.
Fuck yeah. Let's go.
I love Soul Cycle.
Where do you go?
Just the one. It's on
Lamar Congress.
It's on Congress. Yeah.
Okay.
There's one on Congress. Big.
Soul Cycle.
I went this morning. Tuesdays are Wake and Drake.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, I was just gonna ask what kind of music.
Yeah, so-
Wake and Drake. Let's go.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Nice. I love that. And then, because I've seen like on Instagram stories, like you get the chips and everything. Like,
Yes.
Like you do the 12 steps. Like, what is that like? Like, because I know some people that have made the choice to be sober and they haven't gone the route of looking to AA or any other like support groups. Like, what has that been like? Like, what kind of community have you found there?
Yeah. I mean, I've met a lot of cool people and successful people too. I think there's maybe sometimes a stigma about going into AA and maybe the types of people that would be there, but I've met some of the best people.
Nice.
There, I go to probably 3 meetings a week, and just finding other like-minded people who are sober but also like to have fun.
Nice.
I don't know. It's been great for me because I tried to do it. I tried to stop.
Yeah.
I tried to get sober by myself before, and that just didn't.
Yeah, and
didn't
I feel
work
like
for me.
you're like a guy who just like social is the way you operate.
Thanks.
I feel like just everything I know about you. Have you heard of the 13th step? Is that a thing that gets discussed?
What is that?
Okay, explain the 13th step.
The 13th step is essentially like hooking up with someone else within the AA program.
12-step program. The 13th step is falling in love with someone you've met.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
or
has a lot of potential to go
Well, it does.
either
Like
well
people,
or terribly.
there's all the memes of like, oh God, not the 13th steppers, or like, head down, like, nope, no 13th
Right.
step. And then there's some people who are like, oh,
I mean, I can't necessarily speak for like alcohol, but I know that like with drugs and stuff, NA, stuff like that, it's like, hooking up with somebody who like has the same problem, like, yeah, it could be a recipe for disaster.
It could be.
yeah.
Could be. You're not there yet? You are.
Well,
oh my God.
I.
Already did it. Haven't hit the 13th.
It's not
step.
something that I seek out.
Yeah.
Um,
No, for sure.
but it happens.
But it comes to
It
you.
happens.
So, like, when you're on, and we'll stop prying into your personal life. Like, I have so many questions, and I think it's really cool, Kevin. I'm really proud of you.
Appreciate it, Charlotte.
Like when you communicate like a new like decision for sobriety, like on a dating app, like what have you found is the best way to do it? Or in general, you're meeting people in the wild, like someone who might not understand. Like, what would you tell somebody who's newly sober about how they communicate the decision as they go about dating?
So sometimes it kind of all depends on the person that you're going on a date with or who you're talking to. Like I don't put it on my profile. I hide that part, especially like on Hinge. You can hide it.
Yeah.
So I hide it there, but eventually it always comes up, usually on the first date. And I just say I don't drink anymore. And sometimes people pry and sometimes they don't. But I usually choose an activity where it's going to come out pretty quickly that I don't drink, because if it is a deal breaker for some people.
Yeah.
So it's good to just get out ahead of it. So I usually go, I'm not going to say the place. I usually go to this pool bar and, like I suggest an activity like pool, and usually I'll just order soda water, and a lot of times I'll order a drink, and like, that conversation usually happens right there. So yeah, I guess my advice is just to address it early, because I'm looking for I'm not rushing into anything, but my end goal is to find my person to end up in a serious relationship. So there's no use, and I guess I could put it on the app, but I'd rather just have the conversation in person, first time meeting. That way we don't waste any time beyond that first date.
Would your like ideal partner flat out not drink, or does it really truly not matter to you?
It really doesn't matter to me.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, I think I would honestly say it's a non-factor.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And yeah, I guess sober. What's a good sober date idea before we jump into our mailbag?
Oh, give us three
give us
good
some-
ideas. Actually, give us as many as you can.
What you can think of off the top of your head?
Well, I just like any like let's see. Like a nice coffee date is always a nice one.
That's so true. Coffee dates are kind of underrated just in general.
Yeah.
So.
I love like the coffee wine
Like
bar
in the morning,
combo
yeah.
because they've got kind of like I feel like a sexier vibe to them. Like they're kind of, they've got the mood lighting.
Yes.
Like,
Okay.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Like Starbucks just feels like I'm gonna go
sophisticated.
work remote or something.
Sure.
Like that.
Yeah. No, not Starbucks. It's got to be like a little.
I think even like a cidercade, even though obviously they it's part of that
Cider,
focused around alcohol, but like
Like an arcade.
yeah, like an arcade's fun. I mean, maybe it's a little corny, maybe it's a little cheesy, but like
Not at all.
but something
pinballs.
fun.
You ever been to pinballs?
Exactly,
Lit.
like just a
So
little
lit.
activity.
What about the pumpkin patch? Because we have a listener who asked, how do I convince him to take me to the pumpkin patch? She has given no other context.
I mean, I would be easily convinced. I didn't even know our pumpkin patch is a thing in Texas.
Yes, I've been to one.
I mean, I think that it depends on how big of a football fan the guy is, because Saturdays and Sundays in the fall
Well, that's
are
probably the
tough.
issue, yeah.
Yeah, so once you get past that, I feel like most guys are down for the pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
Especially if he likes you,
Men,
they'll be down.
they love a pumpkin.
They do.
patch.
I
They
love
don't talk
pumpkin
about
patch.
it, but boys love a little pumpkin patch because it's so cute and like wholesome,
cute.
and they get to feel like a dad for a second. It's cute.
I said,
love
buddy,
it.
we're going to the pumpkin patch. He went,
Are you serious? He
He's
did
just
not
like-
want. He wants
he's
to go. Shut up.
He's just
Yeah, right.
pretending.
He's
no,
pretending.
he's like, they're
faking it.
pumpkins. You can get them at the store.
Not the same.
Not the same at all. I'll go to the pumpkin.
And I
patch
said, well,
with
we can
you.
do that or apple picking, and he picked pumpkins.
No,
Apple
yeah.
picking's cute too.
I said the
Oh my
same
god, you
thing.
guys
You
are
do both on the
so.
same day.
That's so Laura Ingalls Wilder of you.
I want to pick apple. Yeah, he's like, I grew up around pumpkins.
You guys are
they're
like
not-
little settlers.
yeah. It's like you can wear your cowboy hat and your boots.
Yeah, hell yeah.
They're not pumpkins, but yeah. Yeah, I think like if a dude's down, he's down. Like I think it shouldn't take convincing. I think like, come up with just be like pumpkin patch.
It's a cute date idea.
I think so too.
I think it's maybe not a first date, but if you're in a relationship or
Yes.
any other stage, maybe beyond the first date, I feel like a pumpkin patch date.
Could you do it with
works.
someone that you're like on a second date with, or is that too weird? That feels stage 5 clinger.
I think it depends how.
Because you have to take pictures. So
That's
is it weird
true.
to take pictures with somebody that you're on a second
true.
date with?
Well, I feel like
Yes.
if you play it like just like it's kind of like if you do first date on like if it's like your early date, like we kind of make it kind of jokey, but also not like it's Valentine's Day. Like fuck it, yeah, I just met you. Let's go on a date, or like let's go to the pumpkin patch. Ha ha ha. Like I don't know.
If you're going with someone who's like cool and kind of go with the flow, it's not like you're dropping these pictures on. You don't have to drop the. You don't have to hard launch them on Instagram on
be
a
pretty
second
funny.
date. But I think it'd be fun to just like
Yeah, why not?
take goofy pictures.
Pumpkin-
of pumpkin patch.
it's
Oh yeah, and if it works out, then you've got a thing going. Okay,
Exactly.
that was our warm-up question, because today the big theme of the episode is basically like friend groups, which Kevin is great at friend groups because Kevin has a lot of friends. He has more
Kevin
friends
is
than
great at friend groups.
he is. Okay, so I think we'll kick off dating and friend groups, because I think a lot of things that happen is people are young, they kind of find a friend group, a community in whatever city they're in, and then that's how they meet people they date. Like no one like. In an ideal world, you're meeting people in the wild and stuff like that, and sometimes your friend group is your way of finding that. Sometimes the tie you have to that friend group or whoever is in it that you're interested in is a little bit closer than it could be with others, and that can cause problems for people. I guess the way I'll kick this off, general overview, is can you have a relationship, and that's a lowercase r relationship, established or not, like some romantic, intimate relations, whatever, with someone in your friend group that doesn't work out and still maintain the friend group as it was? Or is there always going to be collateral damage?
I think that there's a period of time where you can remain friends after, but that is finite, because eventually if I got in a relationship with someone else, I probably wouldn't bring them around someone else that I used to date.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
hook up
regardless.
with. It just feels disrespectful, and maybe there's no feelings there anymore, but I just personally would not bring someone that I really liked or loved and really cared about and saw a future with. I wouldn't want to put them in a potentially uncomfortable situation where they're intermingling with someone that I used to date or hook up with, because I I know for a fact I would not like that if someone was.
Period. You're such an adult about it. That's real.
Have you seen and you don't identify your friends or anything. Have you seen anything like that in a friend group, and how has it worked out?
I think most of my friends have typically made the mature decision to not bring them around each other. I think maybe, back in college or right out of college, maybe that would happen a little bit more. I haven't seen too much of it. I guess, one situation where that might be unavoidable is, say if you date a coworker.
Yeah.
And then you have these work dinners or work outings where you bring significant others. That can also be messy, that's why you don't date your coworkers.
Yep, I can attest to that. Yes, they don't go away.
Exactly.
Have you seen where it's established couple breaks up and then the friend group kind of falls to pieces?
Yes.
Because I've seen that.
Yeah, bad. I was just gonna say the inverse of that is there's a group of couples who are friends.
Yeah, because I've seen this ranges from things are kind of fine and they're friendly, and then someone gets in a relationship and then people come around less, or there's fragmented friend groups and awkwardness unless the bigger, larger group gets together, at a wedding. That I see that version, and then I've seen friend groups that have completely torpedoed and spontaneously combusted because a couple got divorced. Or someone did something weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you don't really know who a person, I don't know, sometimes in those friend groups, right, you'll be friends with a couple and they seem pretty normal when they're together.
People get crazy when they divorce.
People get crazy. I know you had a friend that
I had a friend group situation where it was this friend
I don't know how much
was
we can share, but this shit is crazy.
Oh, there's two friend group ones. Oh gosh,
that's right. Okay, yeah.
Two friend
earlier one with the house part.
The house. So there was this one couple that was in our friend group that used to just throw house, they would throw the Friendsgiving. And this was not my main friend group, but another one that was great. This married couple would throw the Friendsgivings and stuff, and they were the glue that held their friends together. They met all their close group of friends because they used to be the college break representatives for their university, so they had known each other for a while. This one couple was married, did this great house, and then I don't know what it was, they were together as a couple for ever, and then they were probably married for a year, and then probably exactly on the year mark divorce, and this whole friend group that used to just be rock solid, knew each other since forever,
does everything, goes on the boat.
They basically people straight up moved out of the area. It was just this friend group went from being everything to just no one talks to each other anymore because
it got
couple divorce.
Ugly.
Oh yeah, it got very
that,
getting texts from people being well, are these people hanging out? Is this person So it was very because I feel I was in some groups you're the fringe guy. I feel I was kind of the fringe guy, but not the weird way. And I was just kind of I'm just gonna back away from this slowly. I don't know.
Yeah, no one's holding you accountable. Nobody's asking you any questions. You can kind of just
Another friend group drama is one woman cheated on her husband with another dude on someone's couch, and then
another guy in the friend group.
Well, I'm trying to explain. My friends will kill me if I share too much. But someone cheated on her husband, and then she got pregnant, and then it was whose baby is it? And it was a whole thing. It turns out it's her husband's baby. But
dude, hearing shit like that just makes me so I'm wow, my problems are not that.
Yeah, but she's been kind of that's one where that individual has been kind of pushed away from the friend group as opposed to the whole group combusting. Everyone's just kind of why did you do that? Don't cheat on your husband in someone else's house. That's how murder suicides happen. Which side note, the husband literally hit up the friends and were just I'm gonna kill this dude, and people are hey, it's actually kind of scary.
I just think self-control is not as common.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. But then I also am kind of you get put in a position like that, you find out your spouse cheated on you or has been cheating on you for so and so long. I'm my eyes would probably roll back in my head. I would probably go fully blacked out, insane. I do genuinely, I would probably be not myself for a very long time.
Oh, that's just because I feel Austin, you start to recognize people. You see people I saw that person on Hinge, or you realize that you have a mutual friend. You're oh shit, this person. So what this letter is about
says, mailbag. Went on one date with who I think was his roommate 1+ year ago. Okay, I've totally heard of this type of situation before. Okay. I met a guy I really hit it off with while I was out with friends one night, and we exchanged numbers and set up a date for later that week. Great, right? I was doing some internet stalking in the days leading up to the date, and on his Instagram, I recognized one guy who regularly appears in his pictures as being someone I went on a date with a little over a year ago. It wasn't a great date, but also wasn't anything crazy and ended in mutual ghosting. Based on pictures and captions and later context clues, he and my date appear to be super close, and I think they may be roommates. Our first date went well, but I didn't mention what I noticed with the past date. We haven't followed one another on Instagram yet or anything. I really want to keep seeing him, but I also fear the history with the roommate might end up being a deal breaker or something that'll make him see me as more of a casual option while I'm looking for something more serious. Is continuing to talk to him a lost cause? How do I bring this up? I feel like in Austin, this
because I feel like something like, I know I would see things where it was like, wait a second, I know this guy or something, like you would like go through your matches and be like, these two guys know each other, like I don't know, and so
they're little Eskimo brothers, yeah.
Well, she says they went on one weird date, and then the other has been on a date, so this is a fresher situation.
Yeah.
Was there any? I don't know if I missed it. Was there any physical connection between the first on the
no
first
one day and
weird
it was
one date?
So
I
think that's kind of not a non-issue, but I think she should just proceed with seeing this guy. I mean, like you kind of mentioned, I don't know if this is Austin or not, but Austin's a small city.
Yeah.
And I think that if she genuinely, was getting good feelings about this other guy that she went on, one date with recently, then I think she should keep pursuing that. Depending on the guy, she can either like make a joke about how she saw him, how she stalked him. Yeah. Sometimes like I'll admit to someone that like, I looked.
It's like not weird to do anymore. Yeah. Like nowadays, it's like everyone knows what to do. Like the guys do it. Like people look people up, and I think it's not weird to admit it anymore. Yeah.
And it's kind of, I think that if she likes the guy, she should keep talking to him, keep going on dates with him, and expressing interest as she feels. And then if it's something that bothers the guy, then it's kind of, it might bother him, but she can't control that at this point.
Yeah, it's like, why do you care? Girl, just sit. Who cares?
Yeah. Well, these type of go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, what about if it's someone that she's hooked up with? Maybe let's say 2 or 3 times hooked up with this guy, and then it fell off and they mutual ghosted. Same situation. Does it make it different?
I think it does make a difference.
Okay, me too.
Yeah, I think it does make a difference, and I think also that may be more something that you want to get in front of sooner rather than I think you probably get that into that a little bit more.
I guess my question is, to what extent do guys like, what does a conversation between the two guys look like, and how much, not saying anyone should lie, but I also think there's certain things where you don't have to tell someone there's almost like the tactful way to do it. You don't have to tell somebody everything and give every single little detail. Like, what do these conversations between guys look like behind closed doors when they realize there's a potential mutual romantic interest of the past, present, or future?
Well, it didn't work out for one reason or another, and it sounds like there maybe wasn't a lot of chemistry there. So if, I've gone on dates with a girl where if my buddy, I've had, it's not on purpose, but like my buddy's gone on like a date with a girl that I also went on a date with, and I think it's just like, hey, it didn't work out. If I'm the person who went on the first date, then I'd be like, it didn't work out. There wasn't a lot of chemistry there. It's not like, if you feel a connection with her, then, pursue that.
Yeah.
I think it kind of depends on the guy, though. I personally wouldn't be jealous or anything in that situation. And I think if I thought highly of that girl, even if I didn't like her, then I'd be like, go for it.
Yeah. How much do you guys talk about that kind of stuff? Because I feel like women, it's like, they talk about everything. It's like they'll tell you, they'd probably give you like a big lowdown. Like how discreet are guys with like discussing exes and past dates and stuff like that with one another?
I think if we know that there's some sort of common ground, then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think it also depends on the buddy. Like I have, depends on my relationship with that guy friend. I have one buddy who, if I go on a date, then like I'm probably talking to him about it after, and he kind of like he'll come to me for advice and that type of thing, and we just like do update each other on our dating lives. But there's other guy friends I have that we just don't talk about.
It's so funny because I feel like with women and information about men, it feels, at least in Austin, where like communities are pretty tight knit, I feel like it's like communal information.
Yeah,
like you all contribute to the stew.
Yeah.
You all put like your little 2 cents in about this man, and everybody knows kind of like what type of guy he is.
Totally. And like I feel like if the roles were reversed, like I think of like my last roommate, this date I would be going into that date, if at all, like knowing that she had been on a date with, like it wouldn't be like we would have had that conversation like ahead of time, because women talk about those things. Like,
that's true.
You know, every dude, it's like, here, do you know this person? Like, oh look, like I don't know, but.
I think there is a decent chance that I could go on a date with someone that one of my buddies already went on a date with without either of us knowing it. And it could come up like years later.
Yeah,
but like it might not come out right there,
like,
though.
That's just what happens. Like I feel like pretty much when I was single, going on dates on like Hinge and stuff, there was always like some sort of like mutual person. It was like, oh, you work here? Do you know so and so? Like that would be like almost like an icebreaker early question, like, do you know so and so, or like who are you friends with? And then like I would kind of like use that as a gauge to like judge if I'm like, okay, he hangs out with these people. That would be another thing I would just say to this woman too. Like, I mean, some guys are best friends with a guy who's totally different, but if you didn't vibe with, you know, the friend, birds of a feather flock together, like, you know, just if I don't know what the meh, if it was just like meh, or if it was just, you know, there was some sort of like fundamental thing, but you know, that's just something to think about. But yeah, like that would be.
I feel like with women, a lot of times it's like you want this info. Like before I start dating someone, I'm checking with people that know them. Like I will like look at their Instagram. They're followed by this and this person I know, and then when I see that person, I would ask genuinely, because I feel like, I don't know if men feel the same, but like with women, it's like I'm not trying to waste my damn time. Like. There are a million men who will get you hook, line, and sinker first 3 months, like you're madly in love, and that like, is he gonna waste my time or not? Like, who else has been through this?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I always just looked at like I would look at it for like common denominators. Like I don't know, like I never, like when I would see a guy following women, I would never like assume right off the bat that it was like a dating situation, unless it was, there were certain like Instagram accounts where I would be like, okay, you're following all of these people that are like known to be like going out and about and stuff like that. It's like, are you just like following a lot of women?
Well, I'm just saying like they would know those women. Like with Daniel,
Daniel follows like one person.
I know, I love him, but he but like had a couple mutual friends who just were friends, but of course I like asked them about it, and they told me, because they had known him for longer, known of him, like kind of knew what sort of like relationships he had been in.
Yeah.
And that like is relevant to me, very relevant to me, you know?
That makes sense. Yeah. Like
I don't want to like start on like a relationship type thing with someone when I find out that they have like dated half of Austin.
Yeah.
When I find out that ran through, you know what I mean?
Not the run throughs.
No, I'm over that.
Oh my goodness. But no, sometimes it's like you can't get every bit of information. Like sometimes they say like it's to our disservice. Like like we always have to like look at Yelp reviews before we eat anywhere, and then lo and behold,
if
like,
enough women are saying,
choice.
If enough women are saying, like if you say their name, they're like, yo, then don't waste your time. You know, it's like,
if you have to like go and like ask the entire country before you date someone, there's room for mystery. I don't know.
Like, yeah, there is. I think there's plenty, you know, of like red flags you can look past, but it's like, in a general sense, if it's like this is his MO, I'm not like, oh, I'm different. I'll change him.
You are different.
He'll change for me.
He might be different.
No, the fuck he won't, Kevin. Come on.
Fix him.
Yeah,
he won't.
Might be able to fix him.
I feel like you've said I can fix him before.
Ironically, you can't. You cannot fix someone. No, they'll act like that with whoever is in front of them. So.
You never know.
You never know. Some people can change. Oh my goodness. So I pissed off the poly community again.
Poly community, okay.
Yeah, because at first they're easy to piss off, but someone was making a TikTok about like then they were talking about their platonic polycule. And I commented, and I was like, "Is that not just a friend group?
Friends?
Is that not just a friend group?"
That sounds like Friends.
They got very upset because they're like, "No, because a platonic polycule, it's all poly people, but they're platonic, and so they're not dating. Because if you just say it's like a polycule, then people will think that they're dating, and people are always not inclusive of poly people, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Well, having to do just say you're friends, and then you're not gonna other yourself." And they're like, "But we need to acknowledge ourselves as a safe space for poly people." Like, I swear to God.
What platform was this on?
It was TikTok comment sections. But the poly people, like, I sort of like most people in the world have two arms, two legs, right?
Yes.
But there's a sizable minority that are amputees. But most direction and instruction for people walking through life like assumes that everyone has like two arms, two legs. Like you make pants with two holes. Like you're not like, oh, we need to make amputee pants, so otherwise it's not inclusive. And amputees get that. Like amputees don't go and say like, hey, you made, like, those pants aren't inclusive, blah blah blah. Like, but
if
the
you
poly
can
people,
make something more inclusive at a certain point,
you can. Yes, you
then why
can.
wouldn't
But like,
you try to?
But you don't stop someone from what they're saying and say, hey, wait a second, like this doesn't apply to people that are amputees.
That's very classically TikTok, I think.
But no, it's poly people, they just
But
need to be
I'm
acknowledged
so curious. Poly people are annoying.
Poly people are so annoying.
Hey,
Sorry.
don't think I'm
We have a
defending you
theme of
bitches. I'm
poly
not, but
people
I'm
are-
just trying to speak to that metaphor.
TikTok comment sections are wild.
They're unhinged.
I don't trust a poly anything.
Me either.
But a platonic polycule, I wonder if they like live together.
No,
Like
they're
roommates? Like what?
No.
And they were roommates.
They're a group of poly people. No, I was told this very explicitly by like 8 poly people in the comment section who roasted me and called me ableist or like heteronormative. I don't even know, but like apparently
None
a
of those
polycule, a
things.
regular polycule is poly people who all are like, it'd be like a throuple but expanded. Like they're a polycule, they trade, maybe some people are couples that twitch, but a platonic polycule is people who are poly. They're everyone in the platonic polycule is poly, but they are not romantically attracted to each other. So they are basically just a friend group of exclusively poly people, but they acknowledge themselves as a polycule, so everyone knows that they're poly because poly people can't not tell people they're poly, and then also acknowledge that they're a safe space for other poly. Like,
You're starting to sound really polygamy phobic. So I think
well,
You're kind of a hater.
you're actually coming
like
off like really hateful right now.
I feel like it's one of those go so far left you go right, like polygamists and poly people, like, or go so far.
I think
you go right.
I think when it comes to, okay, sorry we're hating on the poly community, but
you have a big viewer base of poly people?
No, the poly people find my
They
TikToks
come.
and they're like
They
this
will
is
find
stupid
you.
and it doesn't apply to poly people. Therefore, no one should listen to you. Like you have to acknowledge poly people. Like we find.
I just feel like it's not a sexuality. It's just kind of like it's like a preference, like a, you want to have your cake and eat it too, and you're trying
indecisive.
to justify it through. Yes, you're
Poly
trying to
people are
justify
indecisive.
by basically pretending to be marginalized, but you're just an indecisive greedy bitch, aren't you?
like it's just I don't know. Okay, sorry, I interrupted myself. I just had to tell you about how annoying people on TikTok are. But this is another friend group question about people who are not part of platonic polycules. This is a normal monogamous person. What if we just called our friend groups our monogamy group, our platonic monogamy group?
Platonic monogamy group. I love that.
Anyway, new girl in the friend group and her boyfriend. They're not poly. Background: I am 27, female, live in a big transplant city, and have a solid friend group, one where the girls are really close and hang out together as just girls, which is part of an extended friend group of mixed genders. There are singles and couples, most met through college, work, hometown, etc. Everyone is super nice and outgoing, and excited to welcome newcomers if someone wants to bring a new friend or two around. Now for the situation. One of my good female friends made friends with a girl she met at work and started inviting her to some of our girls-only gatherings. Everyone, myself included, really likes her. She is super fun, nice, and all around great to have as part of our events. This girl has shared she has a boyfriend. They've been together for 6 months and are moving in together soon. She hasn't brought him to hang out with the larger group as there hasn't been an opportunity yet, but she's expressed interest and said she really wants us to meet him. The girl said early on that the invite is open next time we do something with significant others. However, I think there might be a problem. Shortly after meeting this girl, I followed her on Instagram. I realized I recognized her boyfriend. I know him in a way that's not ideal. 3 years ago, I was just out of a relationship and downloaded Hinge, looking to just try to date again in hopes of I'd meet someone and forget my ex. I wasn't over my ex, but didn't realize it at the time. One day I matched with the girl's boyfriend. We had a good vibe, met up for a date. It started off really well. We were changing locations, had some hot makeouts, and even bumped into my other friends and were bouncing around from place to place with them. We heard about an after party and decided to go. When we walked in, I was surprised to see my ex there. I awkwardly avoided him, trying to suggest to my date to leave until the ex broke the ice. Then my feelings and a lot of alcohol got the best of me when my ex asked if we could talk. My date was super confused to see me walk off to the side, and when the ex tried to kiss me, all hell broke loose. My ex and the guy got into an argument. My ex swung at my date. My date was freaking out, yelling at me while I was crying. It was a dramatic scene that I'm not proud of even years down the road. I never spoke to or saw my ex since that night. I blocked him. Aside from a lengthy text from my date telling me how rightfully upset he was and my attempt to apologize with no response, I hadn't heard from him either. I hadn't thought about him in a while until I saw the girl's Instagram. It is only a matter of time before I come face to face with this guy again. I obviously have no lingering romantic feelings, but I still feel awful about the incident, and I'm worried it'll come back to haunt me within my current relationship and my friend group. I'm sure this guy is happy in his new relationship, but this wasn't an experience you just forget. I didn't get to know him that well, and I'm not sure if he's the type to start shit or, still have lingering feelings in any kind. I met and started dating my boyfriend years after this incident. We're together 9 months now and didn't share the story with him. It was still one date, there was no sex, who I never saw again, so I didn't see any reason to volunteer such an embarrassing story to him. In a perfect world, I still wouldn't have to, but I'm not sure if that's the move. I also love my friend group, and I'd hate for anyone to cut me out based on this story. No one in the group was present for this incident, and I haven't told anyone aside from one person. I'm not sure how to handle this. Do I get ahead of it, and who do I go to first? Do I just wait until we're face to face and go with the flow in the moment? Do I just act like I've never met him before and hope he plays along? A lot of layers to this one.
That's so brutal.
Yes.
So before I get to the important parts of it, the first thing that came to mind is, how big of a party would this have had to have been to accidentally bump into your ex?
I wonder if there's
so
like a mutual...
true. She said she was in New York. Come on.
She said transplant city.
Oh, okay.
I've been, granted, I was in situations where I would bump into my ex at parties, but I always kind of had an inkling he could be there.
Exactly. So I personally have never bumped into my ex that in a situation where I was completely shocked.
Yeah.
Can't believe you're here. Yeah. I would never have expected.
I've had times where I'm I hope he's not there. It's damn it, he's there.
Yeah.
And because I had this that would happen every now and then, or just is he gonna be there? Ashley, can you go first or something like that? And if I were with a dude, I would be we're staying away from that. But there would be times I could see this happening if there was some sort of mutual friend group thing going. But also, you would think kind of close ties here. I don't know.
But yeah, so this girl sounds like she's already, the girl that did the making out with this girl's boyfriend, she's already established in the friend group, from what I understood. And it's this new girl that's coming in. I don't know. I would probably be open, just mention it to maybe someone this might be bad.
Who does she start with? Because I feel she has her own boyfriend. She has this new girl who seems sweet. Mm-hmm. Because there's also the thing of you freak this girl out and you make it seem like you're the bitch group or an girl or an adversary or coming to try and brag to them oh, I've by the way, me and your boyfriend. I don't know.
It's a delicate
I don't think you're gonna be as close to this girl as some other girls in your group. I just don't think
it's never gonna happen. And you can't,
even if you wanted it to be.
And you can't ever try and be super friendly with her, even if they become fully immersed in the friend group. There's just no way that you can ever be super friendly with her boyfriend either. I don't know. Yeah, and you don't want to be do the whole hey girly thing, because I think that could just
see, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about it and I'm maybe tell someone else in the friend group first of all, but then I think if you wrote out a text that you just from the outset assume that it will be screenshotted and sent to her boyfriend and pretty much a lot of other people that she knows, but if you frame it so that it's hey, look, I just need you to know this. I'm so sorry. Obviously, I feel so terrible about what happened back then. I'm happy to like talk to him if you want me to, but like again, it's completely up to you. Just so that like they have some time to talk about it together before you guys meet up. They will probably be like, "Hey, it's."
I would give the girl a heads up before because I'm trying to think like there's so many.
Have to give.
I'm like mentally going in my head of like trying to like do like a sports play. I'm like, okay, you go. I think the first person you go to, because it sounds like she says her best friend is the friend that's bringing the girl in, or I don't know how close.
Oh yeah.
If that is your closest friend in the friend group, I would go to that friend first and be like, hey, so, there was this thing like remember this time a few years ago, and I probably went on this date. Like if you haven't told her the story, fill her in and say like this is insanely awkward, but like, give that person a heads up first and kind of see if you can get the scoop between this girl and her boyfriend. Like maybe there's something you need to know before you say anything to the next people. Like, maybe the girl isn't going to be coming around that often. Like maybe, she, I don't know, something like I would go to the closest friend first and give a heads up to, like, especially just because this girl might, say something to someone else in the group, like give your friends a heads up first. I do think like it's your friend group more than hers. Like people tend to align with the people that have been around for a while. Mm-hmm. But I would go there first. I would say next is your own boyfriend. But I would say it almost is like because I feel like the more you make it like build it up as this thing like, hey, I have something to tell you, like blah, 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 and like make it seem like this big dark story. Like I don't think you have to tell it that way. Like I think having it, hey, like something like crazy happened. Like just there's no, but just like hey, like really weird thing like kind of happened like in my weird kind of thing happened in my friend group. Like so we're always like inviting new people to come by and like. This girl that so-and-so met at work, we're super excited to meet her. And I realized like, holy shit, like I've been on a date with the guy that's now her boyfriend. Like it was years ago. And you could even say like everyone in our city, like we come across this kind of thing. Like, and just say like, I never told you, like you could even say like, the relationship wasn't that serious, but like the story was crazy. It was kind of embarrassing. Sorry, I'm just telling you now. But like, just a heads up, like I'm gonna probably keep my distance or something like that. But like I feel like the more you build it up is like I did this thing and I'm so sorry, like the more it sounds worse than it is.
I think you should I think if you're this girl, you need to approach it from a place that I guess like values the other people's involved feeling and not making it about...
Don't over-explain it. Make it short and concise. This thing happened. If he wants to over-explain it to his girlfriend, he can. But don't be like, oh my God, I think about it every day, dude. It haunts me.
I can see like because I think of like people have had a bad Charlotte Warren date before. Like
catastrophe.
I'm not
for me. Not
but like I've had like when I was younger and just like maybe didn't know how to articulate feelings or wasn't over an ex or something, and like I've had like weird blunders that like if I were to bump in if one of those guys from years ago were to show up at a party that I maybe ghosted or something, like I would be like, oh fuck, like I thought I would never have to think about this again. It's like the moments in the shower that you think of that cringy thing you did when you were younger.
Yeah.
And it was if it was years ago, then I think that also helps that also helps things out because people don't completely change, but people grow and become more mature.
Totally, especially if you're in your 20s.
Hopefully, stop doing things.
Yeah. She's
like
with someone
that.
new. She can be like, "Hey, that was a weird like one-off. That guy was crazy. He was so crazy, but I don't have that anymore."
Yeah. No, and I think if she said 27, that would have been when they were 24. Like 24-year-olds do stupid shit like that. Like I don't know.
Swung on him at the party.
The jump between 24 and 27 is a lot.
Yeah. But you are right though. I feel like if you have an inkling that your ex is going to be somewhere and you're like, let me grab a Hinge date real quick.
Yeah.
You're using that Hinge date as like a weapon.
I don't know if I trust. No, I'm joking. But I don't know if I trust that she didn't know what she was doing.
Hey, look, I'm right there with you. I think maybe, which is fine.
People are messy, especially people are super messy.
I think that, and like maybe I'm like biased. Like, so I had one of the like an ex that was very social, like and just had a lot like. If there was something fun, he found a way, he was there and like had a way of just being around fun people that I also like to hang out with in giant, massive groups. And sometimes I was just like, God damn it. Like he would be there first and I would be like, I want to go to the fun thing. Everyone else is going to the fun thing. Like I can stand on the other side of the room. Like I wouldn't bring a date to that, but in some people's defense.
Didn't you one time do that?
I think I might have accidentally done that.
And then that guy had a problem with you. You like ran around on Rainy Street, and then you brought him up, and he got all huffy puffy with you. I thought that was because he ran into.
You couldn't just let her get away with that.
Sorry.
So no,
you
you're
know
totally
what I'm talking
right.
about?
Yes, I do. Because I'm trying to think of like not part, but like. You know how my old like work used to just like bump into people and
of
shit
course.
like that.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Sometimes it's like, what am I supposed to do? Just like run away, like and be like, oh, like he's there, like.
Yeah,
no. This ex just had a way of just showing up places,
Right.
and like he was not like looking for me or anything. Like he was off in his own world, but like sometimes it would be like, God damn it, like why is he like? Can't he just stay in his house for once? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
He had to be everywhere, but. No, I've like had those where it's like I'm just trying to like meet new people and date new people, and he just keeps fucking showing up.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I've sort of like had those where it's like, yeah, you have to kind of explain. Oh yeah, oh no, so my company holiday party.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
How far are we into this episode?
5:54.
No, the only people listening at this point are like true fans. No, I had so my company my old company holiday party. I like dated. I did 2 coworkers back to back, which like was
Stupid.
not. Hey, so it just sometimes sometimes that's just how the chips fall. Like the amount.
That's
of people,
how the company was. That's how the company
the amount
was,
of
girl.
people who are like married to coworkers
Please.
are like insane. But like
Yeah.
no, so our company would have like an annual company holiday party. You could bring a +1 or a date.
Or you could fuck your coworker, basically.
Well,
That's what the holiday
I had
party
gotten
is
out of a
for.
relationship with a coworker. And Ashley and I decided to bring 2 guys. You know these 2 people who were two guys who are two best friends who were two best friends, and we're like you know that's kind of fun, right?
I wish we could name drop.
It's so funny because one of my friend's date is the reason this whole thing exists.
Yes.
Which is hilarious. But like.
I can't wait to send this to him.
Oh my god. But no. So.
God.
But yeah. So we so company holiday party, and we're like. You know, like we'll just bring like they were fun. Like it was, you know, we were 2 best friends. Let's bring 2 best friends. And I didn't say like I think I said like I have an ex who is like a coworker, but like I said I didn't want to make it a thing. Like I didn't want to be like I have an ex who's a coworker. I bump into him every day. Like it's like that's how you move on. You don't want to be like constantly pointing him out. So I brought the guy as a date, and then I was like. Because in the back of my mind, I'm like hopefully, like my ex brings his own date or something like that. Like maybe, like I don't know, maybe he does his own thing. And so we bring our dates in, and then like I go to like go get a drink, and then I see like my date or whatever, and then like I see the ex come in. He like brought like his like best guy friend or something, and I see them like they were the 2 people that like knew both of. They were talking to somebody, and then like the ex goes and walks right up to him, and they're like starting a mutual conversation. I'm like, fuck, are you kidding me?
Yikes.
And then I go over to this like, I'm like, hey, what's good? And I'm like, yeah, you know, like I try to drag the guy away, and I'm like, hey, like, you know, just heads up. He's like, that's your fucking. I'm like, why didn't you say your ex was gonna be here? I'm like, he works here. I'm not gonna make it a thing. He's like, and he gets all mad. And then I was like. What like I'm like rocking a hard place. Like I either say like, you know, just a heads up, my ex is gonna be there, and it makes it seem like it's a thing, or like, you know, you just hope that they won't interact, or you drag them away. It's a big enough company, whatever. And then like, yeah, like people were getting hammered at this party, and then like, you know, like that. I think like my ex was pretty. But he was just like standing in the corner, and I'm not defending this guy by any means. Like he just was fucked up. He probably had no idea what was going on. But like, no, we were like at one point we're like I'm standing at the bar with like my date or whatever, and then like. I guess like my ex like, was kind of like walking up to the bar like teetering like trying to order a drink or something, and when my date was like, is that your ex behind us? And I was like, yeah, like I think it is. Yeah. He's like, he's touching my butt. I'm like, I don't think he's touching. I'm like, I don't think he's intending to. I'm like, well, we can move. He's like your ex is touching my butt. I'm like,
oh God. And you're like, please God, just
and I was
be
just
cool
like
for one fucking.
I'm
like that sounds like it's about to escalate now.
He's like, I know he's bigger than me. He's like, I'll hit him if I have to.
Oh God.
I'm like, don't do
Get
that.
it together.
I'm like, he's like, your ex is touching my butt, and I'm like, how about we go over here? If he follows you over here and touches your butt, you can punch him or something. But I was just like I was so fucking pissed by the end of that. And that fucking random date had the nerve to tell me at one point too. He's like, hey, I think we're at different life stages. And at first I thought he was going to be like, oh, you know, you're looking for, I don't know. But he was like trying to say he was more like mature than I was or something. And I was like,
So
Honey, like,
Insecure.
you tried to fight
He's
my
so
fucking
insecure.
ex-boyfriend at my company holiday party.
And was upset, like purely pissed that you didn't tell him before. I'm sure he's
Rock
like,
in a hard place. Rock, like, it was just like
I would have big dicked him if I knew who he was. Like
it's either like I go and I say ahead of time, by the way, my ex is going to be there, and it makes it seem like I'm not over it, or like, oh, we have to make it a thing, we have to go and hide, or it's going to be a bad time, or like you get surprised. Like, you know, I chose the second option thinking that maybe it wouldn't be a thing, and then of course he went and made it.
He's like, you cocked me.
Yeah.
I mean, so as someone who's also dated a coworker, I had kind of not a reverse situation, but we went out for a team dinner, and I was still, you know, kind of friends, like genuinely just kind of like buddies with my ex. You know, we worked together, similar friend groups, and at this point, like, we'd been open about, you know, she was seeing a guy, I had been seeing a girl, and like it was all cool. And so we go out for dinner, and then we go to First Thursday in Austin, which for your non-Austin audience, it's just essentially big.
A big like alcohol farmers market.
Yeah, alcohol farmers market.
Cool.
And so I'm kind of hanging out with my team and my ex, and we bump into this girl that I've been seeing. And so I'm talking to the girl, and my ex is standing next to me talking to her friend. And I had told the girl that I was seeing that I work with my ex, but I kind of downplayed how much we talk. Bad on my part. Yeah, bad on my part. And I'm talking to this girl, and then, you know, I kind of hear the conversation stop pretty promptly with my ex and her friend. And I look over, and she has just like a shit-eating grin on her face. And I was like, the girl that I was seeing and her friend like walk away, and I was like, what did you just say? She's like, oh, well, like, she asked how I know you. And she's like, I just told her that we used to date. And so like
I would be.
And so like now she like painted a picture where that we were
like it was like the two of you hanging out.
Yeah, and then like,
do you think that was intentional, or do you think
it was super intentional on her part? And I think that, you know, even though we were just friends at that point, you know, she'd been drinking a little bit. And I think alcohol and jealousy kind of played a part, because after that she kept trying to like grab my hand in front of this.
That's insane behavior.
And
that's actually so
me.
Fucking crazy.
It was insane.
That's
it wasn't
so
cool
fucking
at
crazy.
all. It wasn't.
That's how you get in trouble with HR. Like I don't know.
That's so weird. Ew. I'm sorry. No offense to your choices.
No, we're gonna hate on her. No,
that's crazy to like. Yeah, basically try to like.
It was
big
insane.
dick another woman.
Yeah,
girl, get lost. That's crazy.
Yeah,
How was your date or
how did you recover from that?
I did. I forget how I did talk my way out of it.
Classic.
I did talk my way out of it, and I did really like the girl. Things didn't really end up working out. But yeah, I talked my way out of it that time, and then I kind of stopped communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Well, no.
Oh,
Well, yes, kind of. Yeah, communication stopped with the ex, but I also stopped communication
Yeah.
with this girl.
Bummer. Sometimes it just be like that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes
Gotta
it just things just end for unrelated reasons.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're excited about someone, then you're just not as.
I think
excited.
it just wasn't super. I wasn't like all in, so it just
Yeah.
wasn't working out.
How many dates does it take for you to realize that you're like in or not? Like, at what point are you like, I'm in or not? And then what are the kind of.
Honestly, like after like the first or second date, I'm like, I'm either like.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. I feel like, yes, men generally, like, they know pretty quickly if it's somebody that they like really want to.
But then I get like, sometimes I will get like too excited, and I feel like I plan the next date too quickly.
Yeah.
And then they're like, But
Really?
the times where I like play it cool, they're always like down to go on a second date. But the ones that I get like genuinely excited about, I feel like don't end up.
I don't like.
Well, maybe the ones that you were excited about are the ones that you're excited about them because they're like coy, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, or it just seems like I don't know what the psychology is behind that. We'd have to look. I feel like context matters.
But dating life has been fine. I mean, like I've enjoyed being single,
Yes.
but hope to find my person sooner.
And maybe you will. I mean, you look real good on this. Feel free to take these videos, like, I don't know, put them on stuff.
I'll fire them off on TikTok.
Fuck yeah, let's go. It's been wicked fun. And we're like we've come up on time.
Dang.
No, thank you. This has been a great episode. Congratulations on 1 year sober.
Congrats.
You look fantastic.
Thank
You're, as always, like, you're welcome on the show anytime. Help us answer the guy code questions and friend group stuff. Because it's wicked fun.
We just love ya.
We love you.
Thanks for having me. It's been, I love doing this. I'm really glad.
Come back anytime. I'll give you a shout next time.
Let's do it.
We'll answer the mailbag. Fuck yeah, let's go. Well, thank you again, Kevin, and thank you, everyone. We'll catch you guys next time.